Failing to prepare is preparing to fail. I've always been the type of person who plans things out, right? This is just something that I've naturally done. I like to know what I'm getting myself into before I actually get into it, which could be a good thing and a bad thing, right? Having to have everything planned out sometimes can seem like you're boring, you're not spontaneous. Sometimes people can kind of feel like it ruins the party. Spontaneity is something that I think people do find attractive to a certain extent, but at the same time, you know, doing everything on a whim and not preparing for it can often lead to failure more than it can lead to success, at least in my experience. So I'm the type of person who plans things out, and I think overall it leads me to be more successful in the things that I want to do, right? For example, budgeting. I used to actually wing it when it came to budgeting. And this is when I was in a different financial situation. When I was living at home, I really had no expenses. My parents didn't charge me rent. They paid for pretty much all my food. I didn't have any expenses aside from like maybe car insurance. I took care of my student loans when I still had those. But other than that, I pretty much had nothing I had to pay for aside from like gas and stuff like that. So now that I have to take care of all my responsibilities, all my bills, pay my rent, utilities, all my food, everything like that, my budgeting has changed. And the way I approach it is different than the way I used to when I had pretty much no expenses. So now that I live on my own, I have obviously more bills. And the way I like to budget my money is this: I budget all my expenses first, right? So rent, utilities, food, all that kind of stuff. And what I do after that is save and invest a certain amount. My investments, although I've made videos about this before, it's kind of broken down into three things, I guess you can say. My Roth IRA, my retirement account is number one, and then my brokerage account is number two. And I'm looking to start investing a little bit more into crypto. I have some money in crypto, haven't really been investing in it recently, but crypto has tanked pretty hard recently. So I feel like it might be a good time to start slowly adding some money back into, or adding some more money into that portion of my portfolio. So after expenses are taken care of and I've set money aside for investments, then I have some money left over for discretionary spending. And this is something that I'm really implementing harder in 2026. And when I say this, I mean this budgeting format. I just want to know where every single dollar is going. And I like to be able to look at the end of the month and see, okay, I spent this much on my absolute necessities, I saved this much, and I spent this much on discretionary spending. And so far, we're in February at this point. It's been working well. January looked good. I'm excited to see what happens at the end of February when I run my monthly income statement. Some of my expenses just recently went down with my girl moving in with me. And then I actually am making a little bit more money at work. I've started a new position. There's opportunity for bonus, things of that nature. So the point I'm trying to make is having a plan when it comes to anything, but especially your money, is setting you up for success. If there's one thing that I would really say you should have a plan for more than anything else is money. And just to kind of piggyback on top of that, like let's talk about investing, for example. I feel like most investors or traders normally have some sort of plan, right? They have a maximum amount they're willing to invest. When it comes to trading, they have a maximum amount they're willing to go ahead and lose. And with traders too, this is actually a really good example. Like they'll oftentimes have a profit target, right? They have a price point that they want to sell at. So they'll get in at one price and then sell at another, and they'll minimize their losses. If the stock goes down, they'll sell at a certain point. That way they don't lose their entire investment. So what this does is it gives them a plan, right? They go in knowing these are the rules. Here's what we're going to do. Here's the max amount I can lose, and here's my goal for how much I want to make. Doing that rather than just buying a stock and seeing what it does and maybe I'll sell tomorrow, maybe, walking into that without a plan, I think you're set up for failure because you don't have a set of guidelines to follow. You're either going to hold on too long and continue to accept even more losses if the investment doesn't go well, or if it does go well, maybe you hold on too long and you lose out on profits because you held on too long. You thought it was going to go higher, then it drops back down and you end up losing your profits. So having a plan, I think, is really important in many aspects, but money and investing is definitely a big one, in my opinion. So another example, right? Working out. You know, I used to actually just go and work out. I was big on outdoor workouts during like COVID, where I would just go and do like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and squats and all that kind of stuff. And I would kind of just do whatever I wanted. And while it worked, I felt like I wasn't maximizing my gains because I didn't really have a plan. So what I've done is I tried to revamp my workout plan. I'm trying to do like 3 days of lifting and 2 days of cardio because I'm really trying to incorporate cardio into my workouts now. Um, and what I do is I actually have a written number of sets and reps and miles that I want to run. So it just kind of holds me accountable and forces me to go ahead and achieve these goals and these workouts and make sure I do them on a weekly basis versus just going willy-nilly and saying, I'm not going to go today. Maybe I'll go tomorrow, and kind of just doing whatever workout I feel like doing. Again, I just feel like I'm not optimizing my time and making the most of my workouts and my time if I don't go in without a plan. So that's something that I've really sort of implemented as well, that I think I'm benefiting from, and I want to definitely want to keep that up. At the end of the day, health is wealth. It's important. So that's one thing that I'm also planning out more. Another thing is meal prepping. I am big on meal prepping. It saves so much time and money if you just plan out your meals for the week, especially if you work like during the day, a normal job, 9 to 5 or whatever. Even if you're working from home, meal prepping your lunches saves you so much time. Like I had the ability to work from home a couple days last week, and I had meal prepped my lunches. So I was actually able to work out on my lunch break and then come back, eat, and be ready to go when it was time to get back to work. But if I didn't do that and I had to kind of look through my fridge and see what I had, I don't know, it just would have wasted so much time. Or even worse, if I was to just order food, that becomes super expensive. I would have had to wait for it or go get it. Like, it's just a no-brainer for me to go ahead and meal prep, right? And if nothing else, if you don't really care about the time that it saves, it's the money, bro. Like eating out is such an expensive habit, and I think it's such a waste of money. And getting it delivered is even worse. That's why I like to meal prep. I keep it pretty simple. Like I'll often do like chicken and rice or ground beef and rice or ground turkey and rice, have some vegetables in there. Like I'll just create these like protein bowls. Super easy to make, super easy to meal prep. I just put it all together on Sundays for the week, and then my lunches are made. And then for breakfast, I'll have eggs and stuff like that. And then dinner, we'll normally cook up a meal once every 2 to 3 days and have that for dinner. So I don't know, man. Just planning things out, it helps save so much time and money. It's just, I really feel much better and in control of my life when I plan things out, especially when it comes to my finances and food and meals. I just feel like I'm in more control and I have less to worry about. Like we have enough to worry about as it is. I don't want to have to worry about what I'm going to eat on lunch break, on a Wednesday or something like that. It's just so much easier to meal prep that stuff. So that's it, man. That's all I got for you guys today. I just wanted to kind of talk about like the importance of having a plan when you're doing things, and how much time and money it really does save you if you stick to it. Because at the end of the day, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, failing to prepare is just preparing to fail. You got to have a plan when you do this kind of stuff. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys today. If you're new here, I post every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, and then on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. I post all kinds of content about personal finance, life experiences, really just anything I feel like you can relate to. I throw it over some gameplay for you guys. So if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.